I would like to address the issue that I talked about today, which regarded the similarities and differences between Syriza in Greece and Podemos in Spain. The topic of my intervention was whether they were part of the same phenomenon or not. And, well, as is foreseeable, some things are obviously different, like, for example, the history of the two parties. But some things are similar. I mean, they both have had a huge electoral rise in the context of crisis of the social democratic parties. And in that sense, I think it makes sense to make a comparison between the two of them. And also because, in spite of the fact that Syriza has been running elections for a long time, unlike Podemos, the rise has been very, very sudden. It started in autumn 2011, and in very few months, in a very short period, they went from less than 10% to 16% in May 2012, and to all the way to up to 26% in June 2012. So, I mean, even if the percentages are not equivalent for Podemos, it's also been very surprising that a party that was created at the beginning of March 2014, right before the European elections, got, and that was totally unknown until then, was the surprise of the European elections in Spain, and got 8% of the votes and 5 MPs at the European Parliament. So I think there is some element for comparison. Now, what is similar in their proposals and what is not? Their electoral program is quite similar. They, for example, they propose a public audit of the debt, and they want to ask for responsibilities. After this audit, they want to find a solution for the humanitarian crisis that is affecting many citizens in both countries, even though the crisis in Greece has been a lot more intense than in Spain. But, I mean, in this sense, they are asking for more transparency. There are many aspects of their programs that are very similar. There are some aspects that are more clearly emphasized in the case of Podemos, and these are the aspects that have to do with the regeneration of the political system, and that doesn't have to do so much with the economy. Like, for example, a greater use of direct democracy, of referenda, or both to take decisions, political decisions in general, and as a way to build up a party. One of the things that is clearly different between the two parties is that while Syriza is still using traditional ideological terms, such as, I mean, they have no problem, on the contrary, defining themselves as a leftist party, Podemos has meant a huge change in that sense, because they refuse that traditional distinction between left and right. They say they are a party that represents the people. They are a populist party. They are not ashamed of saying that, of going beyond the traditional distinction between left and right, and they want to address the problems of the people that are suffering, and that's what they are after. And they are, in this sense, they are against what they call the caste, that is the group of old political parties that are in politics to become rich, and that are an obstacle for new political actors to be part of political decisions. In that sense, it's funny to think that if Podemos was a new party in Greece, they would probably consider Syriza as part of the caste as well. And then another topic that I would like to address is whether this phenomenon of this new party of Podemos is here to stay, or whether it is a one-day story and it may disappear very soon. For the time being, it seems like it is going to be with us for a while, and their strategy is meant to be a long-term strategy. I mean, their objective since the same night of the European elections, they said they were very disappointed with the results because their aim was to win elections. And so this is their objective, and they are showing to be very clever in their strategy. For example, they have just decided not to present candidates for the local elections that will take place in May in Spain. They do not want to take the risk of presenting candidates in many places that they do not control yet, but they have decided to present candidates for the regional elections. That means they only have to choose 13 candidates. It's going to be a tough job for them, but it's something more realistic, and they know that if they don't do that in May, they have no chance of getting good results in the general election. So they really want to improve their results, and right now the polls give them around 15% of the votes if there were elections tomorrow. And so I think we are going to talk about Podemos for quite a while. And finally, I would like to address the topic of how the Scottish referendum, the result of the Scottish referendum may have affected the proposal to hold a referendum of independence in Catalonia, which apparently tomorrow is going to be announced by the president of Catalonia, by Mas, for the 9th of November. No wonder, I mean, there's no question that the result is not in Scotland is not going to help the development of the referendum in Catalonia. That doesn't mean that this is not going to take place. It's not only the referendum in Scotland that is having a negative effect on the future of the referendum. It's also been the scandal regarding the former President Pujol, who hasn't paid taxes for many years. Apparently, he had no time to declare them, and this is also having a very negative impact. This doesn't mean that the people in Catalonia are very much mobilized, as we could see last 11th of September. So again, this is an issue that is also going to be here for quite a while, especially if the government of Spain is not willing to negotiate, because for what we see, the more they resist negotiations or finding intermediate solutions, the more feelings for independence are going to keep going up.